Broken is a noir action movie starring Ha Jung-woo that's been called a Korean John Wick. An intense blend of action and revenge. About halfway through the movie, I started to wonder, if John Wick were made in Korea, would it be like this? The film's protagonist, Bae Min-tae, played by Ha Jung-woo, is a former gang member who, after taking revenge for his family, turned his back on the organization and left it behind, and now earns a living doing menial labor. But his carefree life doesn't last long. As the movie opens, we see a mysterious man staggering away as if he's drugged. It turns out that the man is Ba's brother. Ba's brother was a troublemaker who always got into trouble, and whenever he got into trouble, his older brother would step in and cover for him. They were so close that he even introduced him to the organization himself. But soon after, Ba received the news that his brother was found dead. His brother had always been a troublemaker, but when he realizes that his death was not a simple accident or suicide, he begins to dig for the truth behind his brother's death. The first person he suspects is his brother's wife, Cha Moon-young, played by Judah. Cha suddenly disappeared around the time of her husband's death, and her behavior arouses further suspicion. Unable to dismiss his brother's death as a simple case, Bae Min-tae sets out to find the truth. He visits the organization's boss, Sik Chang-mo Jung Man-sik, after a long absence, and declares that he will find his brother's killer. However, Sik Chang-mo doesn't listen and remains nonchalant. Meanwhile, the police also begin to investigate the murder, which is where a novelist named Kang Ho-ryung Kim Nam-gil comes into the picture. Kang Ho-ryung is working on a novel, and it turns out that the story he's writing is very similar to the current events. He's not the killer, but the similarities between his story and the real-life events are so striking that some people are using his novel as a clue to investigate. Eventually, Kang Ho-ryung himself can't help but be curious and sets out to find Cha Moon-young. This isn't just an action movie, there are multiple characters intertwined, each with a different purpose. There are many people chasing Cha Moon-young, and secrets and conspiracies are slowly revealed along the way. In the midst of this complexity, Bae Min-tae acts in a simple and straightforward manner, as the only thing that matters to him is finding out who killed his brother. Bae Min-tae's action style is also impressive. Instead of using guns or knives, he mostly uses blunt weapons like iron pipes.
We see him carrying a bag with him all the time and wonder what's in it, but it turns out he's hiding a pipe in there.
This seems to symbolize his identity as a man who has broken away from the organization and is now a blue-collar worker. However, the skills he honed in his past organization are still there, and he's strong enough to take on multiple enemies single-handedly. His fighting style isn't just fisticuffs, but is concise, fast, and deadly. The comparison to John Wick is interesting. The difference is that John Wick was a legendary killer, while Bae Min-tae came from a gangster background. However, the two characters are similar in that they both set out for revenge after losing their families, and are efficient and brutal in the way they fight. Ha Jung-woo doesn't show off flashy martial arts like a professional action actor, but his realistic action performance adds to the immersion of the movie. Also, Kim Nam-gil's character of Kang Ho-ryung had surprisingly little screen time. It's said that about 20 to 30 minutes were edited out of the original filming, and his character would have been a great addition to the story if he had more screen time. Jung Man-sik has always played intense gangster characters, but he shows a different side in this movie. However, I did find his behavior a bit too curious in the second half. The movie wrapped filming in 2021, but its release was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which has had a significant impact on the film industry. As many movies made during that time have only recently been released, Broken was also originally made with a series in mind, so even the final scene leaves the door open for a sequel. However, reviews to date have been somewhat mixed. Some say the story is too simple and convoluted to be engaging, while others say the action and direction are pretty good. Personally, I found the movie interesting. It wasn't a perfect movie, but it had enough charm to make it a Korean noir action movie. If there is a sequel, I hope it will have a more solid story and solid character building.